Happy Friday and another one in the Halloween season. Boy, I really do love this time of year. Netter asked me, what are you going to be for Halloween? I said, if I play my cards right, drunk. Nah, I kid. But I think for Halloween I'm going to write Life 2021 on a plain white t-shirt and hand out lemons to strangers. Or would that be limes on the other side of the equation? That's a question we would be exploring tonight with Matt of Bud Boy Productions, but he had something come up at the last minute. Hope it wasn't anything too scary. I guess me and Aged Boomer will just have to dive into this one on our own. Let's strap in and let's get this cruise started. Here we go. Hey, how's it going? Hello there, Aged Boomer. How you doing and what you sipping on?
Good evening, and tonight I took your advice. I have a Bundaberg ginger beer.
Ah.
Have you heard of this brand?
I have not heard of the brand, but can't go wrong with ginger beer.
It is Australian family owned, it says, okay? So this has a very odd cap, okay?
Okay.
You have to pull out, then up. Don't try to just pull up. It'll mess you up. I've tried this before. Wish me luck. And then pull up.
Don't hurt yourself.
Yay, I did it. Okay.
Well,
No, that happened before when I tried to use a knife to get in there because I couldn't get it off. And all right, this time no accidents. Perfect. I opened it fine.
Good.
Because in
Glad
Australia they have to be different. They have to have their bottle toppers are different. Okay.
Right. And I got my brown mumbler here. A very, very strong double, maybe triple Manhattan with 4 drunken cherries. You could thank Netter for the 4 drunken cherries.
4 drunken cherries. Okay. Mm-hmm. That sounds lovely, a drunken cherry.
So I was looking back at some old streams. You know how when you look at all your videos, all your thumbnails, when you hover over one, it kind of gives you like 3 seconds, 4 seconds of the stream. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So like the first 3 or 4 of them was just basically what you see on screen right now with me doing this, indicating with my hand. I'm like, is this like every video is just me being Italian? And then there was one like this. And I'm like, okay, that's a little bit better. What I'm probably going to do, though, is Netter's right. I've had this problem. I don't know what's wrong with our internet, but I'm very choppy, and it's very annoying. So I'm probably just going to go to a thumbnail.
What?
Yeah. Well, isn't it kind of...
You're like Basil Exposition in Austin Powers, in the future Basil Exposition when he's in modern times and it's all clipping out,
Mm-hmm.
to show how things have not really improved in 30 years. Okay, that's what I got from that movie.
Yeah, I don't dig that, but unfortunately, what I don't know is how to do that without removing myself from the stream. So why don't I remove myself from the stream and take off my camera?
Okay.
And you go ahead and say hi to the chat for me.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Hi, chat. I'm so nervous. I have to do this all by myself. I don't like it. Oh, Netter's Network. Hi, Nanette. How are you? Team Ghost Planet.
Hi, Boomer.
Like you don't host your own shows.
It's not
Crying out loud.
Okay, big
You
out.
have more freedom when it's not your channel. You can curse, you can say whatever you want, except
I could say
certain blasphemous things.
I could talk about the little SOBs and all that.
Yeah. Oh, say it outright. Those fucking sons of bitches, for crying out loud.
No, that was a story. I don't know who it was. It was either it was a radio host or a television host. It was like a Bozo the Clown type. I'm not saying it was Bozo. It might have been somebody else. But like a kid's host. And he said like the little sons of, what are little, or maybe he said little bastards. I don't know. Like, and the mic was still on.
Well,
and like he got fired. This was like back in the 50s or something.
Speaking of Bozo. I sent you an article about that. We'll talk about that on Sunday. Maybe we can even make Bozo our good old days segment.
Okay. I don't know much, but I'd like to hear a Troy story about him.
I got a lot of them, a lot of really good ones. So let me welcome to the chat.
Actually, was Bozo on Howdy Doody?
No, they were two different.
That was Clarabelle.
Shows. Yeah.
Oh, that was Clarabelle.
But if you've seen Howdy Doody, you get the idea of what what Bozo was like.
Okay.
The show was similar. In fact, we had a show here in I should really save this for Sunday, but we had a show here in Chicago. Bozo, there was Bozos. Bozos plural. Yes. Bozo was a character played by different individuals on different local channels, but the Chicago Bozo, is what I obviously know. We also had another kids show host named Ray Rayner, who was very, very similar to what was the bloke's name from Howdy Doody? Anyway.
Clarabelle, I think.
No. Clarabelle was the clown, the host of the show.
Oh, well, heck, I don't know.
The human person. Anyway.
I wasn't around back then. I just heard stories.
No, I thought you were a boomer.
Yeah, whatever.
I thought you were a boomer.
Whatever.
Okay, let me say hi to the chat. So, let's see. We first had, I guess it's gone away. I know there was someone else here who I was hoping was going to be coming back, but we'll see if she comes back later on, and I'll say hi to her then. So let's start out with Team Ghost Planet 2.0. I'm not going to dox you, although I don't think it's a big mystery who you are, but you have a new identity, and welcome back to the show. You have been wanting to talk about Hellraiser for a while. We will get into that later this evening. I promise you. There's some things I've been wanting to say about that. Of course, Netter of Netter's Network. Love you, Netter. So glad you're here. See, you don't even have to type in the chat. You can just say it, and everyone can hear you. Matanui, I am so glad you are here. Don't see you very often, and I am so happy when you are here. Matthew Flynn, going to be hanging out with you on Sunday morning, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Anyone else? Big Al, oh my friend, how are you? Hello, guys, how are you doing? If I'm not mistaken, Big Al, it's your week this week, right? We're doing a rewatch with you tomorrow night. Might want to refresh my memory on what that is. Troll.
That's what he's showing.
Yes. Too bad we don't have Troll Hunter in our collection. That would be a good rewatch to follow it up with. But,
Big Al said it was Buffalo Bob Smith. That was the host.
Buffalo Bob. Thank you, Big Al. I knew someone out there would know. Casey Scott. So good to see you, my friend. You are awesome. And that brings us around to I work every other Saturday, says Matanui. That explains why I don't see you all the time on Saturdays. But you know what? Look, everybody, I totally understand. You can't always be here. Look, we had a guest host lined up for tonight who wasn't able to make it tonight. So these things happen. I understand. Fridays and Saturdays are busy in the YouTube realm. Sphere, thank you. So I get that. Although, some of you are going to YouTube channels I don't really approve of. It hurts my feelings a little bit. But that's okay. Right. You guys got to do what you guys got to do. I am always appreciative when you are here. And Joshua V, I saw you just got here. Welcome aboard. So we got a crew tonight. And like I was saying, we were originally supposed to have Matt of Bud Boy Production from the UK come in to talk to us a little bit about some of the differences between a Halloween in the UK and Halloween over here in the States. And honestly, I don't know much about what Halloween is like in the UK.
Ask Matthew Flynn.
Matthew Flynn, that's right. You are in the chat here.
I would love to hear your thoughts about what. In fact, I was thinking about doing this. Hold on a second. Let me take a drink of my Manhattan here. Let me real quick. I had mentioned this earlier, and the comment's fallen off. It looks like I'm going to do as I sometimes do, and I'm going to go ahead and drop the link right here into the chat. Okay, and Matthew Flynn, if you want to jump in here with us, you don't have to come on camera. You can just put up an icon if you're not really ready to. But I'd love to have somebody from your side of the pond come in here to talk a little bit about the differences between the UK and US Halloween. If you don't feel like we're gonna just kind of open up the floor and just start talking about some other Halloween related things, but in the meantime, I do have an article here. This is from Insider. This is from several years ago. 10 differences between Halloween in the U.S. and the U.K. So I figured in absence of Matt of Bud Boy Productions, to give us his insights, I take a look at this article where it says, common language aside, there are numerous differences between the U.S. and the U.K. When it comes to Halloween, Americans and Brits each have their own way of doing things. Okay, this far makes perfect sense to me. That's what I expected. So let's find out about that. Keep scrolling to learn 10 ways in which we celebrate Halloween differently in the US and the UK, from costumes we wear to the kinds of candy they eat. Oh, very interesting. While Americans don't usually emphasize Halloween's Celtic roots, the holiday's ancient pagan forebearer, Samhain, is still celebrated in Scotland and on the Isle of Man, one of the British Channel Isles, as well as Northern Ireland and Ireland. Meaning summer's end, Samhain, which takes place from October 31st to November 1st, marks the end of the harvest season and symbolizes the divide between the world of the living and the world of the dead. Samhain celebrations feature rituals such as bonfires and dancing. Yeah, bonfires. I'll talk a little bit more about those here in the U.S. Guy Fawkes Day, also known as Guy Fawkes Night and Bonfire Night, has historically been more significant than Halloween in the UK, celebrated with parades, bonfires, and fireworks on November 5th. You might be familiar with the rhyme, "Remember, remember the 5th of November." Guy Fawkes Day commemorates the failed gunpowder plot, the scheme orchestrated by Roman Catholics in 1605 was an attempt to blow up Parliament in response to King James I's refusal to expand the religious freedoms of Catholics. The commercialized American version of Halloween, however, is also taking off. I have a distant sense of Halloween is overtaking or has overtaken Guy Fawkes Night, James Sharp of the University of York told Smithsonian Magazine in 2014. Brits tend to wear more traditional Halloween costumes, dressing up as ghosts, zombies, and other fearsome creatures. In the U.S., when kids go trick-or-treating, it seems any costume goes, even costumes that aren't necessarily Halloween-y, including princesses, Spider-Man, and so on. Wrote a Quora user with dual US-UK citizenship. In the UK, we stick to more traditional horror-inspired ghosts, vampires, zombies, Frankenstein, ghoul costumes. According to a 2017 survey from the Halloween Industry Association, which costumes were the most popular choice for adults in the US, while action superhero costumes topped the kids category. In fact, Americans spent a total of $3.4 billion with a B on costumes last year. That kind of doesn't surprise me. Some Halloween treats are exclusive to the US, while others are only available in the UK. For instance, in a video posted on YouTube, user Rafael Gomez it seems candy corn and pumpkin spice cotton candy aren't a thing across the pond.
Boo!
Well, I think they're very smart for avoiding anything that's pumpkin spice, but but spooky sweets like Nestle Milky Bar Ghosts and Cadbury Pumpkin Patch Cakes are sold seasonally in the UK.
I wonder what those are like.
It sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
I happen to like both Cadbury and Nestle, so.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
Specifically the British varieties. The American variety is a little bit different, but still pretty good. That being said, online shopping means you can order your favorite candy no matter where you live. Actually, come Christmas time, I will talk about a British candy that you cannot legally get here in the United States. Going door to door for candy is not a big deal in the UK. I took my kids trick-or-treating when I lived in the UK, but it was pretty low-key. Not many adults dressed in costumes, said British Cora user who relocated to California. Additionally, Brits might be more inclined to eat Halloween candy themselves rather than distribute it to kids.
Huh.
Actually, that was always pretty true here in the U.S. too. We're more likely to buy the Halloween sweets and eat them ourselves, watching whatever spooky film they've put on telly for the occasion, said one Reddit user. Dating to the Middle Ages, guising, a shortening of disguising, refers to the tradition of dressing kids in old clothes and having them mimic evil spirits on Halloween, known then as the Eve of All Saints' Day or All Hallows' Eve. Going from house to house, they would be given offerings for warding off evil. Today in Scotland, children still go guising, but they're expected to show off a talent like singing or reciting a poem in order to receive a treat. Actually, that's a pretty cool idea. I kind of like that one. As a youngster, I remember going out dressed as Ghoul, demanding a treat. However, I had to perform a song to receive it, wrote Cora user from Scotland.
What?
It's
like Christmas caroling. What is this?
It does kind of sound like Christmas caroling, doesn't it? In this, I was continuing the custom of generations before me had carried out. Well, there you go.
There once was a girl from Nantucket.
Yeah. You know what? As much liberty as I tend to give on my channel, don't go any further with that. Pumpkins are synonymous with autumn, and it's hard to think of Halloween without picturing glowing jack-o'-lanterns. People in some parts of the UK, however, make lanterns from other root vegetables, namely rutabagas and turnips.
You can do that, yes.
Well, actually, my understanding is that the whole tradition started with rutabagas and turnips, and when the Pilgrims came over here and discovered, pumpkins, which had come up from Central America through the Native Americans, they said, hey, you know what? These are easier to carve than a turnip, and that's why we use pumpkins. The practice can possibly be traced to an Irish legend about a man named Jack who was cursed to wander the earth by the light of a turnip lantern. Ooh. This is a very old tradition in Scotland and Ireland based on will-o'-the-wisps and Celtic mythology. Donna Heddle, professor of Northern Studies at the University of the Highlands and Islands, told the BBC. When immigrants from these countries came to the U.S., and couldn't find turnips, they used pumpkins instead, she explained. Actually, they didn't have any problem finding turnips. It was just they found pumpkins to be better. I'm embellishing the article a little bit here. According to Vox, New Jersey and surrounding areas such as Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the night before Halloween is known as Mischief Night, an evening of vandalism via toilet papering, egging, and other pranks, which actually sounds pretty benign by comparison to, Crystal Knock Summer of 2020. Elsewhere in the U.S., pre-Halloween hijinks are referred to as Devil's Night and Cabbage Night. love to hear the story behind Cabbage Night. Mischief Night, however, actually has origins in the UK, according to The Guardian. A similar tradition is observed in northern England and the Midlands regions, where it is known as Miggy Night or Mizzy Night.
Oh,
Interesting.
okay. Mizzy.
So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, I'd like to try some of those treats. I don't know.
I know, right? I know. But yeah, and most of those things can be obtained here in the U.S. And if you give me just a second, I am going to bring into the chat another friend of ours from across the pond, the gladiator of Kaon, Matthew Flynn. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good evening.
So, did you hear the
Traded
article?
one map for another.
Fair enough. Did you hear the article I was just reading, and what did you think of that?
I heard some of that.
What you heard of it, was it pretty spot on, or does it need some corrections?
Well, I'm probably not the most accurate source because I'm on the younger side. So
You are on the younger side, and they did tend to focus on Scotland and Ireland, it seemed, in what they were talking about.
Yeah.
But I would be...
They might also be specifically focusing on like different regions of the country.
That was the impression I got. What... remind me again, what specific part of the country do you come from?
The Midlands. So I'll be the
Okay, so you're
specifically the county of Northamptonshire.
You're in Northamptonshire. Okay, I know exactly where that is.
Yeah, not the town of Northamptonshire, the county.
I understand. Yeah. And I should have known that by your accent, but I don't like to assume, because I'll tell you, it's a very small island, and at least from our point of view, from our perspective, and there are a lot of different accents. You don't have to drive more than an hour, and the accent is completely changed. So I don't like to assume anything. But I'd love to hear what your experience has been, where you live with Halloween.
It's actually funny. The part you said about the article said about singing and dancing to receive candy. I have never seen anyone do that. Everyone just says trick or treat when they knock on the door.
Yeah, I got the impression that was a Scottish thing.
Do they wear costumes when they knock on the door?
Yeah, most of the time they're wearing costumes.
What kind of costumes have you worn?
Let's see. Well, I've worn a Dracula costume with the fake plastic teeth.
Sure.
Those things are like really weird putting in my mouth.
Yeah, you can't really talk with those things in.
Yeah, sounds really weird when you talk with them in your mouth.
Huh.
What I used to do is I would cut them in two and just use the top ones, because I felt the bottom ones were redundant unless you were doing a werewolf.
Well,
Wait, if you cut them in half, wouldn't they just fall out of your mouth? Because there's nothing like keeping them there.
Because I kind of held it in, with my upper lip. But then again, as I got older and I really started to take cosplay seriously, started using a poly grip.
Okay.
I have a question for both of you. Do you give out wax lips in England for Halloween?
Wax lips?
Wax lips. Do you know what I'm talking about, Troy?
What is
the point of wax lips? Okay.
I have seen wax lips. I never got them as a kid myself.
Okay.
They are bizarre. They literally, Matthew, they are literally wax lips. They are literally what they are called.
We used to chew them up like gum.
Yes, but there's no flavor to them. There's
Yeah,
no...
They
did?
It had a flavor.
Tasted like
sweet.
wax to me.
I almost want to say it tasted like cotton candy.
The idea was that you would take these wax lips and put them over your real lips for, I don't know, reasons. They're these big red, novelty looking lips, but they were made out of wax. There was no candy value to them. I never understood them.
You look like Mick Jagger, right?
They were, yeah, you end up looking like Mick Jagger. And I'll be honest with you, the one time I got them, the first thing I did was I put them in my mouth and I did that chicken strut he does. I Oh my gosh, bizarre. I think they were bigger though in like my mom's era, back in like the 50s
Well,
and
you
60s.
still see them in stores sometimes. Like in the
Well,
Halloween candy section, they still have bags
because
of them.
we have a tendency to hold on to nostalgic candies. My grandmother, and you got these once in a while at Halloween. Mary Jane's,
Yeah.
Mary Jane's being the honey flavored caramel, I guess. No, it's not a caramel.
It's a nougat. It's a hardened nougat, isn't it?
It's something like that. Yeah.
There's also Bito Honey. Is that like a competing brand? It's like the same thing.
Bit of Honey was like really, really hard, but it's basically the same thing. Yeah, she liked those too. I'm guessing I'm mentioning candies you've never heard of, Matthew.
No, and of course we don't call them candy over here.
You call them sweets.
Yeah, we call them sweets.
Sure,
Oh,
sure.
Or chocolate if they're made of chocolate.
I was gonna say if they're literally chocolate. Yeah.
okay. He had read the article. They were talking about some kind of Cadbury Halloween cake. Does that sound familiar to you?
Wait, I don't remember saying that. Let me go back to the article.
I don't-
It was Nestle
I don't know.
Ghosts and a Cadbury Halloween cake of some sort, I believe, right?
Let me see what they said here.
What was it, a pumpkin-shaped
pay
cake, I
attention to
think
your own
it
article?
said?
Yes, because I'm just wondering what that is.
Nice
Like is it like a spongy cake and underneath chocolate? What is that? You finding it, Troy?
I'm looking it up here.
We'll
Give me
be
a
here a half hour later. I'm being
Well, because
You're under
okay,
pressure.
So spooky sweets like Nestle Milky Bar Ghosts and Cadbury Pumpkin Patch Cakes. Oh yeah, I guess
What's a
there is.
pumpkin patch cake? Have you ever had one of those?
No, I haven't had one of those. In fact, I've never seen one of those. Maybe that's like a region-specific thing.
Maybe it's a
Well,
Scottish thing or something. I don't know.
I have the Google
Yeah.
Foo, so let me do a search.
Yeah.
Google food.
Or it might be a case of my specific town just doesn't have them for whatever reason.
Like, is there like Halloween specific things? Like certain brands put out certain Halloween candies. What does that? Any of that sound familiar to you? Everything weird that comes around only around Halloween
yeah,
time?
we'll see different brands put out like Halloween themed chocolates. Like my like in the local town, the was it Wilkinson's, I think. You probably don't have that store in America.
Nope.
So this
Okay,
is apparently Cadbury Pumpkin Patch Cakes. You know what these are? Oh, I know exactly what these are. These are basically, Boomer, like Hostess cupcakes.
They're ho-hos.
They're like ho-hos, yeah. That's what these are.
Yeah,
See,
no,
'cause
these
they
aren't
got-
too
They
familiar
They
to
got
me.
mini
Those
rolls.
look cool.
Okay, the mini rolls like look familiar, but like
Oh, spooky
Mini rolls. Those are we call them ding dongs. Hostess puts out ding dongs.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't
They
name it.
they used to call them king dongs,
Ooh.
and they changed them to ding dongs.
What is
Or
that? Is that
Oh.
like strawberry? What is that in the middle there?
Black currant.
Oh,
Black currant. It's,
I'm dead tasty. I like that. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm laughing at that.
and see Pumpkin Patch Cakes. Here you go.
Those look
Yeah, no.
cool.
yeah, no, those pumpkin patch cakes do not look familiar
So
to me.
Cadbury
Okay.
not only does chocolates like, for example, Hershey does chocolates, but they do cakes like, for example, Hostess does over here. This is not a wild stretch. Oh, look at that. They got little pumpkin candies on them.
Are they like different faces? What are those?
No, they're
No,
just
they're different
jack-o'-lanterns.
jack-o'-lantern
I
shapes.
think they've
Look
just
at that.
rotated different directions.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Well, there you go. Now,
Okay.
mystery solved. And it's not anything that's terribly, odd. I mean, it's very similar to things that we have. And that's the crazy thing. It seems like every year, every confectioner, every candy maker, everything comes up with something new. We
True
even have
enough.
the breakfast cereals, right? We were talking about them last week on Geeky Geezers, talking about the
the
Frankenberry and
Yummy
Blueberry
Mummy.
and yeah.
and Count Chocula. I what else did I want to bring up? They had M&M for some reason. They make like a Halloween M&M and like it's different every year. I got some like on discount, like after October was over with. You find the candy in the discount, and I got one. It was the most bizarre thing. It was like Cocoa Puffs underneath dark chocolate and shelled. Okay,
Uh-huh.
it was very good. I almost wish I'd bought another bag, but they went missing because, of course, and they didn't. They're not doing that this year. They're doing something else. But that was pretty interesting to me.
You know, it's funny. In my local town, we used to have a sweet shop that was specifically stocking American sweets.
Interesting.
We
They aren't
we have
open anymore. They
we
closed
have
like
a
years ago.
question
Oh.
that I guess we need Matthew to answer. It's a little off topic, but do the British have a version of Thanksgiving? Now, my understanding is that the reason that the U.S. has Thanksgiving was because it's pretty unique to our expatriation from the UK to the New World and barely surviving the first year. So the first harvest was a religious holiday in thanks for surviving a year in the New World. And that's why this idea of Thanksgiving is very American. However, I know Canadians have a Thanksgiving that's like a week out from ours. Is there anything like it in the UK?
Okay, just to refresh my memory, when is Thanksgiving? Is it before or after Christmas?
It's before Christmas. It's specifically November. What is it?
Like the 24th. It's
November
like the,
24th.
Well, they change it each year though, because it has to go on a Thursday.
Isn't it? It's
the
some
third-
weird thing like it's the third
It's the third Thursday,
Thursday-
of every year.
third
Oh,
Thursday
I'm
of
sorry, during
November. Yeah,
And
it's really strange.
and like Black Friday is right after it.
Mhm.
I don't know if they have Black Friday
Because the
worldwide. I
idea
don't know.
is Thursday is a holiday, Thanksgiving, and it's assumed that people have a 4-day weekend. So the following Friday, the stores have these crazy deals for Christmas, and they call it Black Friday because it's horrific for the people that have to work in
Wait, so
retail.
you eat a turkey on Thanksgiving, don't you?
Hmm?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah, we don't eat
Because we-
turkey on like a Thanksgiving type
Well,
day. We actually
my
eat turkey on Christmas Day,
We
and
can
then
do
we
the-
have like I suppose a pseudo second Christmas Day because the day after we have Boxing Day.
You're not as far. The UK is not as far off on Christmas as you may think, because here in the States, the idea of having turkey for Thanksgiving, we also have a lot of people have turkey for Christmas. Some people have hams on Christmas. I grew up Italian.
I thought ham's were Easter.
Ham is also on Easter. That's true. I grew up Italian, so there's always ravioli on Christmas.
7 fishes.
I do like the
Seven
taste of
fishes the
ravioli.
night before Christmas. Christmas Eve is seven fishes. But that's again an Italian thing.
You have seafood on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, seven different fishes. Which, let me tell you something, very difficult when it's just me and Netter. I mean, how do you, unless you make some sort of a seafood casserole, how do you eat that much food? I cannot make
Well, it's
fishes.
interesting. I was watching that movie Green Book about the Italian American. He drives the I think he's a black classical musician in the South. That was the point of the movie, and he's kind of there as sort of like a bodyguard, but also like a protector. Like a driver in places.
Yeah.
And when he comes back home for Christmas, though, they were serving calamari. And could that be considered one of the 7 fishes? Could you have like a calamari dish and then
that would absolutely be. But here's the thing, Boomer. Keep in mind, 7 fishes. I mean, unless you're going to have like one bite of each of those, and it's how do you make that little food? If you're gonna fry calamari, you usually make enough for a family, and then you fry up a halibut or something like that, and then you have some baked clams, and I mean,
oysters.
my grandmother used to like oysters. I was never big on the oysters.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. Okay, so we're really getting off topic here, but I'm drunk and I feel like telling a story.
Let's get back. Okay, all right. Tell us a
Yeah.
story.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
So in the summertime, there is, and it's somewhat quasi. I think it's the feast of the Immaculate Conception or something like that, which of course is 9 months before Christmas, right? Because Christmas is supposed to be when Jesus was born, so the conception would be 9 months earlier, right? So feast of the Immaculate Conception. There's always this Italian festival where the church brings out their statue of the Blessed Mother, does a little parade with her and whatnot.
Right.
People give offerings to the church and whatnot, but it's a big carnival, and they have all these food booths, and it's all Italian food, right? And all the Italian restaurants, are selling Italian sausage. Oh God, the Italian sausage.
Oh,
is so
those
good.
are awesome.
Right, and brujals. Oh, brujals. That's, unless your mom makes them, you got to get them at the Italian feast. Oh my goodness. Brujal is pounded flat steaks with an egg wash and pine nuts, and then you roll it up like a sausage, and you cook it like that. You some people fry it, but usually you bake it or you grill it, and it holds its shape. Oh, they're so good. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting way off topic, but that's the Italian feast. And I was at the Italian feast when I was a little kid with my grandmother, and they had one booth that had raw oysters and raw clams. And Grandma got like a plate that had like 6 of each. And she's like, I want you to try one. And I'm like, that looks terrible. She says, look, you got to at least try it. You don't know you don't like it until you try it. I thought I was going to throw up when I tried the oyster. The clam, not so bad. But I don't know if either of you have ever gone swimming in the ocean. Have you ever been to the ocean?
Yeah, I've been a few times.
Okay, so
I would go on holiday when I was younger, like it's the east side of the country. I think it's not Norwich. Like nearer the lower part, nearer was it south? No, not south. You know what I'm getting confused.
So like Dover. Is that
in the direction of the Isle of Man, but not that far down. Actually, I have been to the Isle of Man a few times.
Okay,
but I would go on holiday.
You've been on the waters. You know what that briny ocean smell is like, right?
Yeah.
And that, imagine going swimming in the ocean and getting a mouthful of seawater and seaweed. Okay, that's basically what this clam tasted like to me. Okay, and I was like, why would anyone eat this on purpose? So
they were considered a big delicacy, like in the Middle Ages, ancient Rome. You get the
raw. I don't get. However, baked or fried, give me some, yes, please. Okay, I love clams. Do not misunderstand me. But raw clams, it tastes like getting a mouthful of the ocean. It was just horrible. So I said, okay, Grandma, I've tried it. I don't like it. And she says, okay, that's fine. You don't have to like it. I just wanted you to try it. So there you go.
I tried a raw oyster once. When I was, I think, a little older than you were, but I felt like a slug was going down my throat. That's what it felt like. So. And I've eaten oysters fried, and I've eaten, that's fine. But I don't know. I
gotta say, they say that raw oysters are an aphrodisiac. I cannot even fathom that. That makes zero sense to me. The last thing I'm thinking about after swallowing down an oyster is sex. I'm thinking about being sick.
Maybe you haven't eaten enough of them.
Oh, Madonna me.
Are you supposed to use Tabasco sauce on them anyway? Is that part of the problem? Maybe I didn't have any.
Grandma didn't, but my father did. And
Okay.
and I'll tell you what, if you're using it as a conduit to get Tabasco sauce in your mouth, I can dig that because I do like Tabasco sauce. Matthew Flynn, do you even know? Does the concept of Tabasco sauce translate on your side?
I have no idea what that is. Is that an American thing or an Italian thing?
I'm sure.
It's an American thing.
I'm going to say it's not only an American thing. I bet it's a Southern American thing.
Let me tell you about this, and I'm pretty sure about this.
Oh, Boomer knows. Tell me.
Very popular in New Orleans. Okay, New Orleans.
Louisiana. I said Southern
Louisiana,
U.S.
but that is not its origin. I believe Tabasco sauce was created in New Jersey.
Okay, I could buy that. So anyway, Matthew, what Tabasco sauce basically is, it's I don't know that there are any other ingredients in it besides vinegar and red pepper. I don't know that there's any other. The hot comes from the red pepper, but I personally think most of the flavor comes from the vinegar.
Okay. Normally, when we have seafood, we would put vinegar and salt or pepper on them, like individually, not as one thing.
There you go. Okay, so it's not a far cry for you. Yeah, we here in the U.S., in the South especially in New Orleans, it would be the Tabasco sauce, which is vinegar and red pepper. However, pretty much ubiquitous in the United States, it's not uncommon to just put lemon juice on seafood. That's also very common. Tartar sauce?
No, why would you put lemon juice on seafood?
I have no idea. It's what my mom always did. I'm now getting away from the lemon juice and moving towards the Tabasco. What about tartar sauce? Did you guys ever use tartar sauce? Do you know what that is, Matthew Flynn?
I've heard of tartar sauce before. I don't think I've ever had any of like that.
Somebody in the chat, or Boomer if you know, or Netter really, isn't tartar sauce just basically mayonnaise and pickle relish?
Pretty much.
You can make it that way, but I like to think when you buy the official bottle, there's a little extra something. It's like saying that cocktail sauce is ketchup and horseradish. Okay, come on. It's. By the way, I might be wrong on the New Jersey thing. I could be wrong. Maybe it's manufactured there now. It was originally made by a Maryland-born farmer, but he had moved to Louisiana. This is what Wikipedia. But then there's some dispute over that. Okay, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Casey Scott says salt used to seal the barrel that stores Tabasco. So obviously salt has got to be in there too. Yeah, I got to do a little bit of research about Tabasco. I love the stuff because it's mostly vinegar. It freaking never goes bad. So I always have some in the house.
Well, anyway. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I have no idea. I am well into this drink, and
I was going to say in England, instead of tartar sauce, don't they use salt and vinegar on their fish and chips?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I already said that.
Salt and vinegar.
Yeah, sorry, I was distracted. Yeah.
So you take a fried whitefish, and you put salt and vinegar on it. Okay, so this is going to sound probably kind of bonkers to you, Matthew Flynn, but here in the States, we had a brand called Arthur Treacher's. You should know the actor. Arthur Treacher is a famous British actor, character actor. He was in... Butler. Yeah, he usually played a butler or something like that. He lent his name to a brand to bring British fish and chips to the United States. So they were a franchise, like McDonald's or something like that. And growing up in the 70s, I loved them. I used to go once a week. We would go and get Arthur Treacher's fish and chips. And honestly, I've done my research. Arthur Treacher's fish and chips were just the same kind of fish and chips you're probably used to. Fried whitefish and big, thick cut fried potatoes We call them fries. You call them chips. Whatever you want to call them. Actually, specifically, we call them steak fries. I don't know why big, thick cut potatoes are called steak fries as opposed to those little shoestring potatoes.
What, I thought they were called French fries.
French fries, yeah. Yeah, well...
I mean, I know we have, like, specific packets of crisps here that are called French fries, but, like, I know that's a separate thing.
Honestly, I'm going to get real pedantic about my fried potatoes for a second. Bear with me, okay? So thin shoestring potatoes are French fries, okay? That's what McDonald's serves. You probably know about them, okay? Thick cut potatoes, fried potatoes, are steak fries. And I personally think those what we call steak fries, are probably closer to what you probably call chips. Am I probably on the right track there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Well, technically we call all of them chips, like whether they're the really thin McDonald's ones or the thicker ones, or like the ones that are like more of a jagged shape, or the thicker but a jagged shape, or just...
But putting the McDonald's aside, normally you would serve chips in a thicker cut than McDonald's. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we call those steak fries, is what we tend to call those here in the U.S. But honestly, I feel like because of television, because of the internet and so forth, I do feel like most Americans and most Brits kind of...
Okay, I've just pulled up on Google some images, and it's just reminding me of another thing that we do that you probably don't do in America, and that's mushy peas.
Yeah, no, I know mushy peas. I've had them, but no, you're right. It's not very common in the U.S. Although I kind of dig them. You know, I'm surprised they're not a bigger thing.
Okay, I've just clicked on the screen share, and I think you need to actually like...
Yep.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. Right.
Whoa!
Right?
Right there's a big blob of mushy peas right there. That is delicious.
Oh, that's weird. You usually get coleslaw in our plates instead of the mushy peas. You'll get the...
I think you can even order the mushy peas as like separate, just buy them by themselves as well.
Okay. So he just mentioned coleslaw. Do you have coleslaw? Or do you know what that term is, Matthew?
Yes, we do have coleslaw here.
Okay. That's what you usually get on your fish plate instead of the mushy peas. And sometimes you'll get hush puppies.
What's a hush puppy?
Hush puppies are cornbread, like
cornmeal. Yeah.
Little. Imagine meatballs, except they're cornbread. Okay, they're fried cornbread balls, is what they basically are.
Okay, is cornbread any different from regular bread, or is there something? Or is there like?
Cornbread is basically regular bread made from corn instead of wheat.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very Mesoamerican. It's very a Latin, Central American.
Yeah, because every time you say corn, I think either sweet corn or like an actual corn on the cob.
Yes, you're right, but imagine then drying that corn, grinding it in a mill into a flour-like consistency, and then making bread out of it instead of wheat. Corn is very much more used here in the States because of the Central American and Latin influence in our foods.
Yeah.
But
that sounds both weird but also kind of delicious at the same time.
Right.
Although I do have the kind of mentality of a shark. If it's food, I will eat it.
You gotta at least try it, right? And if you don't like it,
there are only
like
some foods that I won't eat. Like the like Bounty chocolates, I won't eat them because of the coconut, I think's in them.
Oh, you don't like coconut?
And then the what was the other thing? You know what? My mind's blanking on what that other thing is that I don't really eat. Well, I don't really eat chips that much too often, but that might just be McDonald's chips because they are very greasy.
Those are some nice fillets, though.
Casey Scott says, no hush puppies in England or cornbread. Oh God, no! I got. Casey Scott must like those more than I could take them or leave them. I mean, as a kid, I used to really like them.
It depends on the cornbread.
Yeah,
cornbread is hit or miss in restaurants. I've noticed they either do it well or they don't do it well at all. If it's dry, I don't like it. I don't like cornbread when it's dry. Like Cracker Barrel, I like them, but no, if they're cornbread.
Okay, I've got a great question here, and I got to ask you, Matthew. Casey Scott is asking, aren't true fish and chips served on a newspaper? So I suspect that the reason Casey Scott is asking this question is because when we go to, and I know this is not something you have in the UK, but here in the US, in the summertime, we have Renaissance fairs. They are pseudo-history reenactments of, Britain in the time of Queen Elizabeth. Okay.
Yeah.
The first, not the current. And one of the things you go to a vendor and they have fish and chips, and they give them to you in this cone made out of newspaper. And the last time that I went to a Renaissance fair, saturated in oil though it was, after I finished my meal, I opened it up and read it, and I found it very interesting that it was made up to be a newspaper in the style of what might have been a newspaper if it was reporting the news of the Elizabethan era.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so entertaining. I want to save this, but it's going to go rancid.
What was Bring Out Your Dead Day moved from Tuesday to Wednesday this week?
It was stuff like that. Yes. It was very tongue-in-cheek, too. I thought it was just brilliant. Sightings of Robin of Locksley and
of course,
just all kinds of weird, bizarre. I was like, oh, this is so brilliant. But so I suspect that's where Casey Scott gets this lore from. How is fish and chips ordinarily served in the UK?
Well, if it's more near the center of the country or like further away from the coast, it's just going to be served like on a plate most of the time in like a restaurant.
Like at a restaurant, sure.
But if you are over in like the coast or a town that's very close to the coast, then it will actually be served in like a newspaper cone.
Really? I did not realize that. Oh,
there are also arcades in some of the towns that are on the coast as well.
So this idea of carrying around a cone of fish and chips, like we would carry around a cone of ice cream, which I thought was so bizarre when I would see it at the Renaissance Fair. I'm like, this can't possibly be real. I guess it is.
Did you see
I remember doing it when I was younger. When I went on holiday, I went on holiday to a town on the coast called Hemsley, I believe it was called.
Sure.
And there's an arcade in that town, and like right on the coast, right on the beach, and they have like multiple different. They have multiple different restaurants. They have one building that I remember was full of old people playing bingo. I don't remember what the building was called. And they also had like the various like, I suppose you could call them fairground like attractions and food.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure we don't call them fairground rides and fairground like attractions, that sort of thing. Sure. I'm going to assume fairground is probably an American thing.
A fairground is probably a temporary thing. It's like, during the warmer months, they'll have a fair where they put up, carnival rides and little booths for foods. Although there are permanent attractions such as help me out here, Boomer. In Jersey, they have the what is the
like Coney
Boardwalk?
Coney Island. Thank you, Boardwalk.
That's New York.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
The Boardwalk in Atlantic City is in New Jersey. You're thinking of the Coney Islands in New York, though. Yeah.
Yeah, those are like carnival attractions, except they're permanent, so they don't
Right.
call them carnival attractions.
Okay, I've just brought up images of the of like the beach. I think is that one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's it. Right here they have I'm assuming you can see my mouse right now.
Yeah.
Right up here,
Uh-huh.
that is a mini golf. That's like a mini golf right there.
Oh,
cool.
that's
I
awesome.
believe it was dinosaur themed the
Oh,
last time
neat.
I went there.
And it's a permanent attraction, right?
Yeah, that's permanent.
Okay.
Yeah, that stays there.
Mm-hmm.
They also have another place that sell. They've got places that sell ice creams. I'm pretty sure I saw one that sold cotton candy. I'm pretty sure. There was also.
I thought you called it floss candy.
No, that might be like specific to either time period or region of the country.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So they also have there is a like further up the road here. There's an indoor pool as well, but I never went in that. It was just my sister and my older sister and mum
That
that would
seems
go there.
bizarre. You're right there at the beach. Why would you need an indoor pool?
No, it's much further along the road.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Maybe because you don't want to get salt
Oh,
water
come on,
and seaweed
people.
shoved in your mouth, stung by a jellyfish.
No, so you're gonna go
Who knows
soak
what
in
you're gonna be-
chlorine.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
way
take
better.
chlorine kills everything. That's what's good about it. Okay,
Including
Just
you.
living. Yeah, like something.
I'm for all natural myself.
No, I hate the ocean. I'm
As
sorry.
long as I don't get eaten by a shark, I should be okay.
Yeah, as long as you don't get eaten by a shark
You're
and
not
whatever
likely
else.
to find a shark here.
Okay.
Okay, this image right here is that might not be clear enough. That image that I've put right there.
Well, go ahead and
This
click on it and blow it up.
Blow it up.
Yeah, because it's tiny. Go ahead and click on it so
Okay.
we can.
Oh,
I'll
it's
see.
okay. It hasn't taken me
It's
to
not
the
doing
image. So,
anything.
yeah, so this image right here, that's one of the arcades.
Mm-hmm.
They got like dance.
They would
Dance-
even have. Wait, what?
They got like
what was that,
Dance
Bruno?
Dance Revolution in there, or what are the kids playing these days? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing a Dance Dance Revolution
Okay.
in there. They also have outside the. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's this arcade here. Outside of this one, they have these like giant. I don't know what you would call them because you can see this giant ice cream right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
They would have. Oh, it hasn't actually. Oh wait, no, I know why you're not seeing the page that I'm on is because I have the screen share set to share like a specific tab, and it opened
Yeah,
in
you're
another tab.
sharing. You're sharing the whole Google
Yeah, I'm-
list of pictures.
yeah, Yeah, I'm sharing the Google tab I have open, but when I clicked on the image, it opened another tab,
I see.
and then
oh.
So this is interesting.
How about if I stop sharing for a minute and then go over to the actual
Yeah, go ahead.
All right,
the
cool.
So Team
one that I
Ghost
was
Planet
looking
2.0 says fish and chips sounds delicious. Let me tell you, you if you get yourself a plate of steak fries and a battered fried whitefish, that's pretty much it. And then I would just put a little bit of malt vinegar on the fish, and that's exactly what fish and chips is.
If you're in a Cracker Barrel on a Friday, I do advise you try their fish and chips they have on Fridays there. It's
Sure.
cod. It's very good. It's actually very good.
Sure. There we go.
looks like the images are about the same size.
Oh.
I can't really do anything. Actually, maybe if I
Oh.
zoom it, maybe if I zoom in my actual page, will that
Did you-
change anything?
Did you ever see?
It works.
Oh, there you go.
Did that change anything?
Yes.
Or am I...
Yeah, we can see more of it. No, bring it back.
Right now, we're just seeing the beach.
It's-
There we go.
yeah,
That's
so
better.
yeah, there's a part of the beach.
Yeah.
Is the next one up? Yeah, there's a different angle of the same beach. Yeah, so there's these images, two images here of the arcade. So you have this big ice cream thing here that makes noise. I don't remember what we called those things or what they would be. Some of them light up as well.
They serve
We even
ice cream
have
there.
one. We even have one that's sitting right outside the arcade there. That is Pugwash the Pirate,
What?
and it even plays the music like. It even plays like his the theme music from the Pugwash cartoon, which I think it was a cartoon.
Everything that you're describing sounds like an attraction we have north of where we're at, up in Wisconsin. We have the in the Wisconsin Dells. They have all these permanent attractions that are very carnival-like, but they're not actually a carnival. They're just there all the time. It's very much a tourist trap.
Okay. Do either of you know about Pugwash the Pirate?
I
Nope.
do not know Pugwash the Pirate.
Never heard of him.
Is that a kids show of some kind?
I do recall there being a cartoon of it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Doesn't
also
surprise
remember
me.
there being a cartoon of Count Duckula.
Yes,
we know Count Duckula.
we know Count Duckula. We know Danger Mouse. We
Yeah,
know those
yeah,
two,
Danger
yeah.
Mouse.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
Danger
stop
Mouse.
sharing.
Danger
Uh-huh.
Mouse. Oh, I loved Danger Mouse. This was in the years before we had BBC America. We had Nickelodeon.
It was on Nickelodeon. So was
And
Count
Nickelodeon
Duckula.
carried several different British, I guess you'd call them kids shows. Danger Mouse was one of them. Was it Nickelodeon that carried?
It was Nickelodeon.
Well, did Nickelodeon carry the Tomorrow People? Do you remember the Tomorrow People?
I don't know. It's possible they did. It's possible that could have been a Nick at Night show, because as you well know, where I lived, Nick at Night would disappear and BET would replace it at
Right.
8 o'clock. So anything past, I don't. Yeah, I think Tomorrow People was Nickelodeon. I'm
And
trying
Matthew
to think.
Flynn,
Yeah.
Tomorrow People might actually even be before your time. Do you know of the Tomorrow People?
What year was it?
I want to say it was late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, that was definitely before my time.
Yeah.
Was the
it
guy
I
who
was
was
born
on-
in '95.
Was the actor from Blake 7 on it, or am I thinking of somebody else?
He might have been. I don't remember. My memory is very foggy. But the Tomorrow People it wasn't BBC. It was, I believe it was,
ITV?
I want to say ITV. It was a Thames production. So I think ITV. Anyway, imagine a proto X-Men type show. The Tomorrow People were all teenagers, and as they were going through puberty, they would, in quotes, break out. And what would happen is they would begin to manifest psychokinetic abilities. And oftentimes, if they didn't have another Tomorrow person there to help them through it, they could very well die. But this one older kid had gone through it before and figured it out, and he was able to sense, kind of like a Professor X type of character. He would go around and find all the kids that were breaking out and help them through it. And they formed like this group called the Tomorrow People. They considered themselves the next jump in human evolution, Homo superior, and so forth. And,
Okay.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, the Tomorrow
This is
People.
sounding similar to the only other thing with the name Tomorrow People that I can think of is a Jack Kirby comic that's related to the New Gods. That's probably the only thing I can immediately jumps to mind.
Wow, I didn't
but
even
that's probably
know
a separate
about
thing.
that. And I'm a big Jack Kirby fan. I didn't know about that.
Or is it Forever People? It's one of those. It's either Tomorrow People or Forever People that Jack Kirby made.
Could be the Forever People. Yeah, could be. I don't know.
I have a question, Matthew Flynn. What is chicken and chips? Is it similar to fish and chips?
I've never heard of that.
I've heard it mentioned on British shows. That's why I'm wondering if it's like a chicken prepared in the same way as the fish and fried. I don't know.
Yeah, I would assume so. The only thing I can think of when like chicken and chips is buying KFC or something like that. That's
Okay.
the only like comparison that jumps to mind there.
I thought it was like what we had in our Long John Silver's chains. You could get the chicken planks or the fish planks.
Yeah,
like they're
I
the
would be
same
willing
way.
to bet you that's probably exactly what it is. It's
Okay.
funny because I've been watching some videos recently about Japanese culture, and apparently the idea of having KFC at Christmas time is a big
Yep.
thing in
Yes.
Japan. And honestly, on the one hand, it seems weird to me, and then I think of A Christmas Story. I'm like, you know what? I could totally see if something happened to our Christmas dinner and it was ruined.
You have to pre-order your meal over there.
I would imagine you would.
That's how popular it is. And they
I would
said it was
imagine.
started by, I think, an American GI complaining that there was no. That
That
he had to
is
get
one of
KFC.
the-
Yeah,
that is
KFC
one of
around
the-
Christmas time or something.
That is one of the stories that they don't know for sure.
They don't know, right?
But one of the stories is that an American GI missed. Basically, he was missing home in general, and he said, I'd kill for KFC. Well, they didn't call it KFC back then. It was Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh, go
And
ahead.
that's how it became it kind of became a Japanese marketing meme is what it really became. But
What do you have up there, Matthew? That's not a video, is it?
Yeah, this is Captain Pugwash, the pirate. This is either going to be the actual intro song, or it may actually just be an episode. Yeah, YouTube was not exactly
is this a
being
show that
clear
you
with-
used to watch?
I do remember seeing some of this.
Okay.
I remember it mostly because of there was like the that like Pugwash thing that was at the arcade
Sure.
that I would be at, and it would like say a few lines, and then it would start playing the music from the actual show.
Well, go ahead. Let's see it.
Now I don't know if the audio will be sharing.
It's
so
all right. I know.
let me-
Sometimes the BBC comes after. Didn't they be after you once?
Yeah. The BBC might claim this for me, but
We'll see.
Go ahead and play it and see what happens. Oh, yeah, I can- Oh my gosh, the animation looks like
Trinkets
clutch
and treasure
cargo.
chests. That looks just the place. Pull her up
Oh
onto the
my
beach, hearties.
goodness.
Take the chest up there, under the palm trees. Careful now, don't drop it. That's right.
Well, at
Open
least
it up.
it's not that
Crikey, Captain,
creepy,
you've done
uncanny
us
kind
proud
of
this time.
like Monty
better make me
Python
laugh,
type
Walter. Hey,
animation.
it won't take long to make that lot disappear.
Yes, well, you can always trust your old captain to choose the
Yeah, that's
perfect
Captain
spot
Pugwash.
for
The
the
guy with the
annual
black hat,
pirate
the blue
picnic
in the
party.
blue in the
Fair
back
enough.
half.
Oh, that's just brilliant. He's gonna
Bury the sweets.
Well, he's gonna bury a bunch of food that's gonna go bad if he leaves it there. Okay.
It had
All
been
right.
a perfect.
Just to prevent us from getting
Okay.
taken down.
What happens, though? I want to know what happens now.
Well, then look it up and find it yourself.
Fine, whatever.
Last time I shared,
I'll help you out, Boomer. I'll link the
Thank you.
I'll
Yeah,
link
drop
the
the
video.
link in the there. Hey, I just wanted to say real quick, hi, Mr. Matchstick, and Team Ghost Planet 2.0 is saying, do you have circuses over there? Actually, I would say, do you still have circuses there? Because we no longer do.
Because of what's been going on in the world right now, or for a different reason?
You can kind of say that, mostly because certain elements that we tend to call social justice warriors have decided that circuses are not friendly to animals and
Yeah.
not friendly to, I don't know.
They got.
I don't know.
they're
Everyone's got a
dumb.
problem with something these
I
days.
think there was like this very sad documentary about the last days of Barnum and Bailey in New York City. It's just not. Yes, wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I personally haven't been to a circus. That might be specifically, but it might be like no. I think I know there's like a fair or whatever it is that happens like in my town every so often. But it's not so much a circus. It is more of a carnival, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah.
But it doesn't happen too often. It's like very. In fact, I don't think it happened here for a while now. Obviously, because of what's been going on,
Yeah, you
and
can't even
not
get
not
to-
necessarily the political stuff. The Actually, I don't know if I can say
The
it on
lockdowns?
YouTube.
The lockdowns and stuff. Is that
Yeah,
what you
the
mean?
lockdowns.
Yeah. So, I guess for our American listeners, the UK is well, from what I've heard, not as bad as Australia and Canada, but it does seem like the Greater British Empire is even worse than the U.S. as far as the very authoritarian, control of the population because of the 2 weeks to flatten the curve that became a year that's going on 2 years, and work from home and mandatory, stick pins and all that kind of stuff. So that's what Matthew's referring to. But we have kind of suffered with some of that too. Of course, when we talk about the cinema industry and restaurants and so many things are really, really struggling. The difference here in the United States is because of federalism, we have individual states that are saying, look, the president and the federal government can go chase themselves. We're doing what we decide. Go F yourself, Whereas there is nothing like Northampton couldn't tell Parliament to go F off, I mean, it wouldn't work. That's not how these things work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we'd all have to vote on that.
Well, and the other thing too is, we have constitutional rights that are almost religiously sacrosanct, whereas I don't know about about Britain, but I know that Canada is like, we can suspend rights whenever because we declared it emergency.
I mean, there are MPs here who will, most of the time there will be Conservative MPs who will actually say, will speak out against it, and they'll mention about people that, that people's, different rights. I think we do have a constitution of some kind here.
Yeah.
Probably not the same as America.
In fairness, when it comes to the law, you have British common law, okay, which a lot of our laws are predicated on, to be sure. But keep in mind too, we only have 200 years worth of case law. We have our Constitution, that's the baseline, and then we have 200 years of judicial case law that builds on that. Whereas in Britain, you have hundreds and hundreds of years of precedents, and it's very much more complicated. You really do have a longer history than we do.
Yeah.
But then again, you also have the concept of a monarchy, which we don't have. We do tend to compare our president of the United States to your prime minister, but it's not exactly a perfect apples to apples comparison. It's similar but different,
Yeah.
And we have our House of Representatives and the Senate, whereas you have your House of Commons and Parliament, but it's not exactly the same because ours.
Yeah, and you have the county councils for each individual county of the country itself.
One could argue that would be somewhat comparable to governors of states or mayors of cities here, but it's not really, because our governors have much more authority, than your local governors would. Yeah.
Actually, each town here has a mayor.
Right. So that it's almost a 1-to-1 comparison. That's
Although I don't know every level of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if if there's anyone they answer to in the county overall, from the town that they're in, or that sort of thing. I don't know exactly how many levels that goes.
No, but that's very interesting. Again, a lot of differences. So look, Matthew, I want to, as we're going into the second hour of the show, I wanted to get onto a different topic. But before I let you go,
Yep.
I want to first, of course, you and I are going to be getting together on Sunday morning, right, to talk about
Yep.
Ben 10. Okay. Netter, I'm guessing, is not going to be able to make it. You got to forgive her. She has been working
Yeah, it's fine.
so hard lately. It's like she's working 2 jobs. And if she wants to sleep in on Sunday, I'm certainly not going to begrudge her that. So, but I will see you Sunday. That's 9 Central, U.S. time, on Matthew Flynn's channel. And yeah, anything else that you wanted to plug before you go?
No, yeah, I think you just about got everything.
That's fair. Okay, well, I'll talk to you on Sunday then, my friend. Thank you
Yep.
so much for coming in and filling in for the other Matthew.
Good night.
Good night.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, so I did...
I want to interrupt and tell you something.
What's up?
Okay, you
Yeah,
can
go
buy
ahead.
a 64-ounce bottle of Tabasco sauce.
Holy crap. You know what's interesting? You can get little bitty, teeny tiny bottles of Tabasco that are
Every
like...
size.
Yeah, they're basically like, single. I don't even think they're enough for a single serving, but it's meant to be a single serving. Yeah, they come in all different sizes. You're absolutely right. But what I did want to do is I wanted to pivot to another topic, specifically because I know that Team Ghost Planet 2.0 wanted to talk about this a little bit. And that is, let me get rid of the Cadbury pumpkins and that. And I'm going to bring up real quick because I'm stylish this way.
Be stylish.
I
I don't know if you ever saw that Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr., but he was eating fish and chips in one of those rolled cone newspapers in the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's how they served it.
So the big news this week is that we now have a casting for the Hell Priest. Jamie Clayton is going to be playing. They call the character Pinhead. It should be the Hell Priest, whatever you want to call the character. But most outlets are referring to this as gender bending, and I think that is very, very misused term in this context. Okay, so everything that I'm hearing is that this new Hellraiser reboot is going to be a return to form. Basically, they're setting aside the entire film series and they're recreating it from the original source material, which is Clive Barker's novella. I think it was 1985 novella, The Hellbound Heart. In The Hellbound Heart, the Hell Priest is referred to specifically. The character of Frank Cotton is unable to determine the gender of the character, saying that the character was very androgynous. So if anything, one could make the argument that Doug Bradley, as iconic as he made the role, was actually very gender bending. They were going with 1980s film conventions, right? Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers. Pinhead ended up being the male character, right? Keep in mind, too, that Clive Barker not only wrote The Hellbound Heart, but he wrote the screenplay and directed the film, the first Hellraiser. So any changes he made were his own. It's not like, some faceless studio bought the film rights and then made changes. But be that as it may, it sounds like they're going back to, the original concept from Hellbound Heart by casting actress Jamie Clayton. And by actress, I am referring to her as she appears and as she wishes to be known because at one time she used to be male. This is a transgendered actor. I'll be honest with you. If they didn't specify that, there's no way I would have known and would have had absolutely no problem recognizing that as a very attractive female. However, in this age where you must be what you're acting because more representation, I guess this is about the best that they could possibly do.
Are you saying she identifies as transgendered and she's playing an androgynous character? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying she was born male. She is now female.
Okay.
And she is playing a character that you should not be able to specify the gender
Right.
of. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think to say androgynous is a descriptor. It's not literal.
Gotcha.
Okay, because androgynous would mean literally without gender. Keep in mind that if you get really into the lore of Hellraiser and the Hellbound Heart, the Cenobites were humans that have been literally cut to pieces, had pieces cut off, scarified, just body horror, right? And they have been taken apart and put back together and are no longer recognizable as the humans they used to be. And in most cases, you probably can't even tell the gender any longer. Because
Right.
the externals don't necessarily match the internals anymore. Which is a very interesting social commentary long before we started having these social commentaries. Keep in mind also that Clive Barker is an absolutely out-of-the-closet gay man who is very into S&M and has absolutely no problems about being open about that. I have no interest in shaming him for that. I admire somebody who is open about whatever he wants to be open about. I fully support, personal expression. It's your business to share or keep quiet as you so choose. But yeah, so this is the element that Andre and Mr. H tend to talk about in their videos, and they're bigger YouTubers, they're monetized, they're big time, but I'm sorry, this in and of itself is to me not enough to convince me that this idea of a reboot is a good one. And here's why. This one element, this idea of recasting Doug Bradley with a transgendered actress, fine. I'm okay with it. That is not my issue. Because again, I have read Hellbound Heart. Okay?
Right.
I understand where it came from. But because I read Hellbound Heart and I have seen the first two Hellraiser movies many, 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 many times, I personally think that Clive Barker, when he wrote Hellbound Heart, it was a rough draft. And Hellraiser 1 and 2 were an elevation of his story. And here's why. Casting Doug Bradley was not the only change from Hellbound Heart to the film. Another major change was the character of Kirsty Cotton.
Mm-hmm.
Kirsty Cotton, who, if you want to label her using the tropes of horror films, she was your last girl, the survivor, right?
Right.
She was the one who fights the bad guy, right? And I heard a very interesting analysis done by another YouTuber who pointed out, whereas someone like Jamie Lee Curtis's character fights back against Michael Myers, a girl fighting against a man using his own knife, a phallic weapon, to fight him off. Kirsty Cotton fights the Hell Priest by closing a box.
Interesting.
Think about that.
Interesting.
Think about the gender-related commentary there. When I heard that, I thought, very clever. Good on you for catching that. And if that was, in fact, Clive Barker's intent, good on him. I do not have a problem with messaging when it's done that way. That is quite brilliant. But, putting that aside, the character of Kirsty Cotton, okay, being Frank's niece and Larry's daughter. Okay, first, the character of Larry in the film
Right.
was named Rory in Hellbound Heart.
Interesting.
I don't. It's so ridiculous. Why change that name?
Is Rory more British and Larry sounds more
I
American?
don't know. Rory's a perfectly good name. I'd have been fine with, the actor that played Garrick in Star Trek being Rory instead of Larry. But whatever. It was Larry Cotton, okay? Same basic character. In the book, Rory and Kirsty were friends. He had friend-zoned this friend of his, and she was in love with him. Whereas in the movie, she's his daughter. And honestly, I think it works better as his daughter looking out for him, trying to protect him, rather than a friend zone maybe lover. Doesn't quite work as well. Especially when you have that line, which is both in the book and in the film. Okay, I've done rewatches of this film, so I think most of you have seen Hellraiser with me. If you haven't, you've seen it on your own. At the denouement of the film, Frank, who has come back as a revenant, and Julia has killed all these men to feed him, their life essence and whatnot. Well, he's literally a skinless human, and in order to fully, embody himself, he needs somebody's skin. So they kill Rory/Larry, okay, and take his skin. And he is pretending to be his brother, okay? And at first, Kirsty doesn't realize that until she just kind of realizes he's not acting like her father. And she's like, "You're not my father." And she's backing away from him. He says to her, "Oh, Kirsty, come to daddy." And he's, in that rapey kind of tone. That
Right.
That icky uncle kind of way, right?
Yeah.
Because he's like that, right? So when he says, "Come to daddy," it's creepy and disgusting, and as it should be. In the book, it's just a throwaway phrase. Come to daddy like you would to any, girl you were trying to come on to. Still kind of creepy, but not in the same way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not your uncle,
No.
So I honestly think that he knew what he was doing when he made that change in the film.
In the movie,
if they're
yeah.
going to go back to the original story, it's almost like you're regressing the story. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe it has to be, it's a way to sell it. Like, oh, we're going back to the original, right? Even though Barker made both, right? So
it's an excuse for them to make the changes they want to make, and that's what pisses me off. I think it's going to be less like, it's definitely going to be less like the movie. I feel it's going to be less like the book than the original movie was, but you're right. I think they're using it as an excuse to do that.
So you're thinking this is going to be like another also ran, like not a good remake. Like they redid The Stand recently, and a lot of people were not too keen on that.
I'm gonna say something else about this project, and you take it for what it's worth. You make your own assumptions about it. It's being written by David S. Goyer.
His name gets thrown around a lot, though. He's apparently involved in that Foundation series that's on now too. I don't know where he finds the time.
And he was also involved in the Nolan Batman films, and wasn't he? Didn't he do something else with the Snyderverse films?
I'm sure he did something. Maybe he do Batman versus Superman, or he did
But here's
Man
the
of Steel.
thing.
Maybe he did Man of Steel. I don't know.
Clive Barker has gotten back the rights to Hellraiser.
Why give it to Goyer?
But that's just it. The original film, he wrote it and directed it. Now he's just executive producing it. I don't see that as
That's
being
not
any
a good
different.
sign. That's not a good sign.
That's like George Lucas selling Star Wars to Disney, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm sure. Is Lucas still a quote unquote executive producer on the Disney Star Wars movies? I don't know.
I don't know.
I
have
know
to check
that
into
apparently Nicholas Meyer was credited as a producer on Star Trek Discovery. I doubt he had that much influence on that
Mr.
show.
Matchstick pretty much summed it up. Goyer did at least Man of Steel. Well, that tells you something right there.
Yeah.
If he gives Hellraiser the Man of Steel treatment, then screw it. You know.
Is Pinhead going to be wandering the world thinking, I don't know if I want to torture.
So here's
torture.
the other thing. My hope would be that if they're going to, in quotes, readapt Hellbound Heart, then hopefully their follow-up sequel will be the Scarlet Gospels, which was the literal sequel that Clive Barker wrote. In that book, someone refers to him as Pinhead, and he gets pissed. I'm referring to him as he because, Doug Bradley, but I have no idea if he or she applies. But he did not like being called Pinhead. He was the helper.
Yes, I know. Though, don't call him.
Well, I only say that because the Scarlet Gospels was the only place where Clive Barker specifically named him in canon the Hell Priest, and he used it as his own way of because I know he doesn't care for the term Pinhead, and
Go ahead. Do you know who the director is of this new production?
Let me see. Give me just a second.
This isn't the first Clive Barker adaptation Hulu's done. Apparently, Books of Blood was also done, and it was an anthology horror film.
Books
made
of
for Hulu, I
Blood
haven't
was
seen.
not specifically a Hellraiser. It was Hellraiser
It's a Clive Barker.
adjacent. Yes,
but it's a
it
Clive
was.
Barker property,
Yeah.
so I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's any good or not. I can't speak to that.
Let me see. IMDb. I'm going off of IMDb. This may or may not mean anything. The director is a David Bruckner.
David Bruckner.
Yeah.
Why do I know that name? He is not the one who directed Books of Blood, though. That was somebody else.
Let me see.
But may not even be the same production team involved
David
in either
Bruckner.
Filmography.
Creep Show, the TV series.
one. Oh, I haven't seen it. I heard good things about it, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, here, VHS.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
that was a creepy anthology film.
All right.
Oh, gosh,
so
that was-
maybe it's
So
good.
it's being written by David S. Goyer and Ben Collins, based on the book by Clive Barker. So he's not writing it. He's not directing it. He's just producing it. He's just, give me my money,
So we'll see.
But
Let me
here's
see.
the other thing. There is the first actress whose name has now dropped off the news footage because everyone's focusing on Jamie Clayton, is Odessa Azian.
Okay.
And although IMDb is no longer listing it, they had given her character name somewhere in a news article I had read. I can no longer find it. But the name that was given for her character was not a character that appeared anywhere in Hellbound Heart. So if she's playing the Kirsty analog, that means they probably changed the character's name again, probably changed her relationship to Rory/Larry. I'm very, very concerned. And I am not concerned because of the casting of the Hell Priest. That is the least of my concerns.
Okay. So we have concerns. That's what you're saying.
I don't even know what to make of it. This is not something I will be in the theaters to watch like I will be with
isn't it
Ghostbusters
Hulu
movie.
exclusive, though? So this is going to be on the Hulu streaming
Oh
service.
my gosh, you're right. I forgot that point. It is streaming on Hulu, so I won't be watching it anyway.
I may be able to catch it if it comes on. I can let you know.
And if it's any good, well, I will ask you specific questions, and you can say yay or nay. And
We'll do that. If it comes to
persuade
Hulu, I will let you know what I think.
And if
maybe
it
I'll
sounds worthwhile to me, then I'll take to the high seas.
maybe I'll watch Books of Blood. Maybe I should check that one out. Yeah, but Matt, I know
Books
he's
of
asking.
Blood, I don't know that I ever actually saw, because they did a film of that, right?
I think so. Is this another one they did, or is
Because
this
I read there was a lot of comics that were made based on his works, including Books of Blood. There was a Hellraiser line of comics which were very, very good. And
You ever notice how a lot of these comic adaptations end up being very good, and then when they go to sequels and spin-offs, they never bother to look at them?
Well, it's kind of
it's
like the Alien versus Predator. There were some really good stories.
People loved
there.
those comics.
If they had just taken those comics and turned them into movies, they would have been great. But they just took the idea and did whatever the fuck, and it was shit.
But here's what aren't they often worried, like when they do these things, and you were telling me the other week how someone online might come up with a fan theory and then they can't use it because this stuff's already been written. It's all good to go. People can theorize, just adapt it, okay?
Well, here's the difference, though, okay?
And pay the writers.
The difference is that if it's a fan, there's the possibility of lawsuit. If it's someone who licensed it and wrote the story, they did it under license. You just have to contract with them, and that's just it. These freaking greedy companies don't want to shell out the money to pay the talent, which is exactly about the lawsuit that we'll be talking about on Sunday. It's constantly a problem, and it's like, look, this is why you keep putting out shit, because you are paying bottom dollar for bottom feeder writers that create shit instead of paying top dollar for top talents that make good films. Just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wolf 10's in the house.
Hey, Wolfie. Sorry.
Wolfie!
I got so wrapped up in what I was talking about. I wasn't even. But hi, how you doing, my friend? He's Pinhead to me, Casey's got. So here's the interesting thing. Okay, so there were 4 Cenobites that were seen in the first Hellraiser film, and they are known colloquially as Pinhead, Deep Throat, Butterball, and Chatterer. But those names are names that came about either in fanon, by the fans, or from the, behind the scenes people, just to have something to call the characters based on their appearance. But it was Hell Priest, female Cenobite, and I honestly don't remember what the official names were for the other 2 characters. But yeah, they were given these very 80s horror related type names. I don't know. I'm very concerned. And everything that I was hearing about the series, the streaming series that they were going to do, has been completely thrown out the window. It looks like that now that Clive Barker has the rights and they're doing this movie, that series isn't even going to happen, which I think was supposed to carry on the canonicity of the films.
Canonicity from the way you were describing it, it's a little over the place, right?
Well, yeah.
Later on,
and
it gets...
and if you guys really want to hear my longer take on the overall canon of the Hellraiser films, check out the last video on Mr. Matchstick's channel where I talked about it in my segment on his Culture Fortress. But basically, I would say,
I want to watch the found footage one.
oh, jeez. That was such shit. It really was. What you need to do is you need to watch Hellraiser, Hellraiser 2, Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, and Hellraiser Bloodlines. Those are the first 4 films. Watch those. They're not all, the fourth one wasn't as good as it could have been. If they'd have split that 4th movie into 3 films of its own, it would have been much better. But watch the first 4 films and then skip all the rest of that bullshit. Okay? Everything else was released directly to DVD. Okay? And then skip to the very last film, which was Hellraiser Judgment. Okay? It recast Doug Bradley, but the guy that did it isn't bad. And there is this concept, this idea that the Hell Priest is not always the same individual. That a different character could be, a different human could take his place in hell. So it's definitely worth checking out. That last one I felt was a return to form and was getting onto something. But unfortunately, now it's been completely dropped. We'll never know where they would have gone after that.
Okay, but all right, so we'll have to wait and see.
Newey makes a great point. If you've ever seen any of the artwork from The Batman Who Laughed, it definitely has a Hellraiser vibe to it. There's no doubt about that.
I have to say though, I have to tell you though, I don't know. Should I talk a little bit about *Malignant*? How I watched it recently?
Just a second. Let me address this one last point.
Sure. No, take your
Team
time.
Ghost Planet points out that the actor who played Mayhem in those commercials, those insurance commercials, he was in a Hellraiser film. It was a horrible. It was a film that was like many of the direct-to-DVD Hellraiser films. It was meant to be a completely different horror film, and they just shoehorned in the puzzle box and the Hell Priest just to make it a Hellraiser film and capitalize on the Hellraiser name. But yeah, he was great in it. He really was. He ends up, as is a recurring theme, he's a detective trying to track down a serial killer. Turns out he's actually the serial killer, and he's actually in hell already, and he's being tortured by the Cenobites. And he doesn't
okay.
Yeah, it's one of those types of stories. But you mentioned this before the show in the green room. I'm curious. I think you were joking when you were saying that you thought that this film was really, really good.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I loved it.
Did like it?
I
Okay.
loved it. I have to watch Al's review because I don't think he did. It's very polarizing. People love it. People hate it. I thought the closest I can compare it to. Do you know one of those old William Castle movies like The Tingler?
Yeah.
Stuff
Sure.
like that.
Uh-huh.
It reminded me of like a modern version of that and played completely straight, even though what's happening later on in the movie is so over the top, but I went with it because I can't explain. It's by the guy that he directed the Conjuring movies,
Sure.
James Wan. I think he did Aquaman. And I think Warner Brothers just said, do whatever you want, okay? Because he's been such a success for them. And he did whatever he want. And, I can't really talk about the movie without spoiling the big thing at the end. And I don't want to spoil it for those who want to watch it. I was pleased. Some people will not be pleased, but I was pleased. And it's been a while since I've had this much fun watching a movie, especially a horror movie. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm getting kind of sick of the art house horror movies we've been getting lately. Everything has to be so serious, dark, depressed. This was just kind of a callback to kind of the fun stuff we had, like even in the 90s when we had some of those off the wall Wes Craven movies he did after Nightmare on Elm Street, like Shocker, things like that. It's almost like a callback to that stuff. Like it's not quite believable, but I still rolled with it. I can't say anything more. Okay,
Yeah.
but let's just say it switches gears like halfway through, and it's. I'm sorry, I loved it. I had a good time. I can't. Because you know what it was. I have the HBO Max now, so I'm kind of going with the gimmick. Hey, you can watch this theatrical release right in your convenience of your living room. I'm like, well, all right. So I'll give it a look, and I went into it cold, and I'm glad I did. Okay, but like I said, I'm not going to say anything else about it in case you decide to watch it yourself. But it's pretty cool. Okay, I thought it was cool.
Well,
All right.
apparently, Wolfie has seen it. Mr. Magic said his friends liked it, so
Okay, cool.
That's interesting. I have not seen.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Al, I haven't seen your video yet, but I'll check it out for sure.
It's funny. Wolfton says turns into a Sam Raimi movie at the end. Yeah, they were. I think even they were thinking this was the kind of movie that Sam Raimi should have done, not necessarily James Wan. But I dug it. And I have to tell you, I'm usually down on Hollywood movies, but this almost restores my faith that a movie like this can still get made in the modern studio system. It's so weird. I can't get into it when you watch it. It's anyway, but
So you are recommending seeing it?
oh yes, I'm gonna recommend it. Just even if it's just to yell at me after you watch it. Okay, I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed it. I especially that last act. Oh man, I think one reviewer I read, or some British reviewer I watched, he was like, the first half it's like you're plotting. I've seen this crap done before. Oh wait, what's this? Okay, I can't say anything more. Okay, Matanui has a question for you though. This is probably a dumb question, but what would happen if someone tried to destroy the puzzle box?
It's very interesting. I'm not sure that I know anything from canon that demonstrates that they would have. I don't think it comes up in Hellbound Heart. And it's also important to point out that the way that the puzzle box is described in or shown to be used in the film, where you literally just solve the puzzle box and the Cenobites appear, it's not exactly the way it is in the original story in Hellbound Heart. There's a whole ritual that goes into it beyond just the puzzle box, and I don't want to describe it because it's pretty disgusting, as you would expect, but very, very much like incantations and magic spells type of stuff. So it's very different in that regard, and it's important that is the case because those elements come back into play in the Scarlet Gospels, where Hell Priest is coming to Earth and literally killing all wizards and mages, people that practice magic, and taking their holy relics and artifacts and spell books and whatnot. So this idea of supernatural magic and stuff is very much a part of those stories, but was not really there in the movies. So but yeah, I mean, I'm given the impression from the movies anyway that this the lament configuration is a cursed object that can't be easily destroyed. It would have to be literally unmade through magical means. In fact, if you really want to, that fourth movie, Hellraiser Bloodlines, which talks about the creation of the lament configuration, the current era, and the future. A descendant of the creator of the lament configuration, Lamar Shand, in the future, he, using technology, figures out a way to make kind of an anti-lament configuration. If the lament configuration is based on darkness and evil, he finds a way to make one that uses lasers to make like
Light, right?
infinite light or whatever, and to permanently, banish the Cenobites or whatever. Interesting concept. I don't think it really.
I love
fits.
the idea. Like that would have been a great basis for a series.
Yeah,
Because you could even use the same actor season to season. It's just his descendant he's playing, right?
that
So-
was my whole point.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Take, and,
Yeah.
and what's even worse is it was 3 different eras. None of those 3 eras got enough time, and then to find out that not only did they try to truncate it into less than 2 hours, they actually cut out 20 minutes of the film because of studio demands.
Oh,
And
I
I'm
hate it
like,
when they do that.
you know.
You know what's interesting? Because like you have like these anthology series like American Horror Story, where
Yeah.
each season is set in a different time period, different months or whatever. But they'll use like the same actors
Yeah,
in
playing
different roles.
Yeah.
You could have done this with a Hellraiser series with this idea and have the guy with the puzzle box and the I guess what is it, the Edwardian age? Was that when it came about, or the I'm trying to remember back. How far back did the puzzle box go?
I think it was like the 1800s.
Yeah, and just keep doing that, and each season can be about his descendants encountering the Cenobites and everything and them trying to figure out a way to stop it, and then finally in the final season,
But
you'd have
what?
that thing, in space and whatnot.
As Team Ghost Planet pointed out, she said she looks at those direct to DVD films as being kind of like anthology films. I mean, I was pretty harsh saying that they were other horror films that shoehorned in the Cenobites, but from the point of view she's pointing out, yeah, you're right. These could be standalone stories that involve, just like the comics that I enjoyed so much. Standalone stories about other people that encounter a lament configuration or a puzzle box that opens up a doorway to hell, that brings in the... And that's the other thing, too. In the comics, they very rarely used the Hell Priest and the other Cenobites that were from the movies. They created their own, because you figure there's a whole pantheon of these Cenobites. So, there's a lot of potential here, but so far they really haven't done that. They just keep focusing on the Hell Priest as though he was the Jason or Michael Myers of the film, which I don't know, but
Cool.
But yeah, that's wow, we covered a lot of ground tonight. So
I liked it.
What do we want to do next week? I was kind of thinking, you tell me what you think. Maybe we should. I've talked about doing this for a while, and we just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
Should we do a rewatch of The Mummy?
We could do that. I know you also mentioned you want to do a rewatch of Hellraiser 3 at some point, too. So I could do either one.
You could have my Saturday.
Well, if we're gonna, okay, Netter's offering me her Saturday for a horror rewatch. If we're gonna do that, then I think that the horror movie we should rewatch for Halloween should be Poltergeist 3. It's your night.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's smiling.
It's like, but I'm not.
For
in it
those
really
of
that
you
much.
that don't know, Netter was actually in Hellraiser 3. Poltergeist 3 as an extra. It was filmed here in Chicago.
That might be
And
cool
we've
to
been
be like a
talking
behind the
about doing it.
scenes.
So it does seem appropriate if we're going to use her rewatch night, we should probably do a rewatch of Poltergeist 3 so I can specifically point out there's Netter.
Okay. All right.
So we'll do that. Is Halloween on a Saturday?
No,
30th
October
is.
30th is on a Saturday.
October 30th. So October 30th on
But
Netter's
it's my
Network.
Halloween is my weekend though.
Yeah, on Netter's Network, we'll do a rewatch of Poltergeist 3. But you're right. I have wanted to do a rewatch of Hellraiser 3, but
Well, I didn't know if you wanted to do it on a Friday, but like I said, if you
I
want to do
think
it
I'm
on
going to
a
let
Friday,
that go this year because it's not one of the strongest Hellraiser films.
Gotcha.
And with this new one coming out, I'm not sure I'm ready to wade into that right now. So
Okay.
I think I want to focus more on
So we'll do the Mummy next Friday. Okay.
So this is the
Brendan
Mummy
Fraser.
the Brandon Fraser 1999 film. And here's why. Here's going to be the focus. This is what I'm focusing on. Remember, my whole idea about the reboot of the Universal Monsters Dark Universe.
Yeah.
I said, in my mind, if they were going to do this, it should have started with the Mummy, and it should have started with. They should have done a prequel to this film, where they go back and they tell the story of Imhotep, you know, and how he brought some ancient evil into the world, and that's what causes all of the, you know, shared monster universe, the mummies, the zombies, the vampires, the werewolves, the magic, the evil magic of the world, all comes from Imhotep opening up a doorway and bringing through something. And what I want to do, I'll share this with you now, because if I do, then maybe you guys are going to kind of hold me to it. I want to do a series of videos, and it's going to require a great deal of editing, where I take, you know, scenes and stuff from, you know, the Mummy 99 and so on and so forth, and I narrate through a synopsis of each movie that I think should be in our, you know, dark universe, you know. So we'll never actually have those movies, but, you know, in my mind, you know, the original Mummy movie would be this, and then, you know, we do this Dracula movie, and then we do this, you know, and you know, I do a, I don't know, 15-minute, half-hour video that strings together a bunch of footage that illustrates the story I'm trying to tell. That's my idea. That's my hope. That's my grand scheme for the Dark Universe reimagining.
Cool.
But I got to start somewhere. So next week, let's watch Mummy 1999 with Brandon.
Not the one. This is not the one that has the Yeti in it, right?
No.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
No, not even sure if we'll get to that one. I'm not.
That one is not canon at this point, right?
We'll decide on that one later. Oh my gosh, are you actually asking this question, Joshua V? Of course we've seen Jaws. Of course we've seen Jaws. That film is classic.
I think you did a rewatch of that, didn't you, at some point? I think.
Yeah, on somebody else's channel.
Oh, I see. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But, oh, that's good stuff. You're going to need a bigger boat. Show me the way to go home. Tired and I want to go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago and it went right to my head. Actually, that's entirely true. I did have a drink about an hour ago and it did go right to my head. Yeah, you definitely should see. And you know what? See Jaws. Forget about all the sequels.
I am curious about Jaws for the Revenge. You know why?
Why?
You should watch a classic Siskel and Ebert review of Jaws for the Revenge. They hated it. They were.
There's probably a reason for that.
It's a funny review. They both hate it. They made a point that, you know, Michael Caine is in the water, his shirt gets drenched, and like the next scene, it's completely dry. You know, it's like.
So here's my
Michael
thought.
Caine's good in anything, and he makes everything better.
Yes, I can't disagree with that. So next week, the 15th, we'll watch The Mummy.
On Friday, right? Okay.
Yeah, we actually have 3 more Fridays in October. So we could do a rewatch next week of The Mummy. On the 22nd, we could watch The Mummy 2. And I'm thinking I'd like to do a rewatch on the 29th.
Yeah.
Not in our Universal Monsters thing.
Okay.
This is completely separate. It was a film I talked about. I don't know. It might have been on Geeky Geezers.
Right.
I'm thinking that on the 29th, what I'd like to do is go back to the vampires and do a rewatch of The Hunger.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll definitely look. I mean to watch it, so cool.
Yeah, 1983. David Bowie, Catherine Deneuve, and Susan Sarandon. At this point, it's one of three films of Susan Sarandon's that I will actually watch. The other two being Rocky Horror Picture Show and the one with Kevin Costner. What is it? The baseball movie.
Bull Durham.
Bull Durham. Thank you.
Hey,
Those are the three and only three Susan Sarandon films I will watch.
I have to tell you guys too. I know I've always picked on HBO Max, but now that I have it, not only do they have all the Poltergeist movies on here, they also have the Police Academy movies on here.
I love those movies. Even the sequels were good. None of them were as good as the first movie, but they were still all really good.
Yeah.
We've lost way too many of those actors too.
Yeah, tell me about it. One of them did show up on that show, The Closer. Did you ever used to watch that, The Closer?
Yes.
Yeah, he was funny on that too. Yeah.
Yes. Netter loved that show.
Yeah.
I think we may or may not even have them on DVD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was yeah, and you know the one who plays the closer. What's her name?
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah,
Brenda
bless
Lee Johnson.
Brenda Lee Johnson, the actress that plays her. That's Kevin Bacon's wife.
Yeah, we do have the closer. I just don't think it's in a place where I can grab it.
No, don't worry about it. I mean, I just I thought we had gotten it on DVD, but yeah, because I always say own physical media, and you know we talk about owning physical media and why it's important. And we know it's because if you're relying on the streaming services, they can pull them at any time, and then you'll have to pay for them, or they may decide to edit them and take out the problematic scenes. And
I remember one line from one of the episodes, like one of the detectives asking one of the other
Kyra
ladies.
Sedgwick.
Kira Sedgwick.
Kira
Thank
Sedgwick.
you.
I think he asked, "Do you have any Latin in you?" And she says, "No. Would you like some?" It's like, no,
yeah.
that wouldn't. You couldn't say that now.
Yeah, right. And that's just it. And they're editing all these films. They took Daryl Hannah's butt out of Splash. You know,
well, Disney's a whole nother animal. Yeah.
You know, and now you know they're now that films are being distributed digitally, even to theaters. You know, there's the possibility of editing. Well, we actually even saw it with that horrible abortion of a film, Cats. You know, they send it out, and the first week it got panned so badly that they sent to all the theaters a patched version of it, which still sucked.
I heard that was so bad. I think it took some of the hate away from Rise of Skywalker because people were so focused on Cats. Universal needs to do better. They really do. I mean, I love their parks, but
there is a girl on YouTube who did a video about Cats. Let's see if I can find it because I've watched it a bunch of times. Let's see. It was like, why is it so bad or something like that. Everything wrong with Cats. No, that's not it. What's wrong with Cats movie? I think that's something like that. That's Sideways, 10 Reasons. Oh, I can't find it. I'll share it on another night. But there was this girl that did this video about the movie, and she had actually been in Cats on Broadway.
Oh, I see, on Broadway, so she knows the score. Okay.
She even pointed out that she was not a fan of Cats before she went out for the role. And she was, you know, when you get the role, she's like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to get to like this thing. So she started listening to the music and she read everything there was to read about it. And she started to do a little bit of analysis about it. And she's like, you know what? This is a way better play than I thought it was, you know? And she got like really behind it, right? And then she sees this movie and she's like, everything they changed is like the worst changes you could possibly make. Some of them, you know, directly oppose the whole reason for why the scenes were the way they were written, you know? It's like you don't even understand this play, you know? For example, you know, and I don't think there's anyone here, you know, that maybe has even seen Cats, but there's a character named the Marvelous Magical Mr. Mistopheles. Okay, he's like a David Blaine type of cat. Okay, and he is very self-aware and very not arrogant, but he knows he's magical, so he knows he's very capable. And there's a part in the story where the lead cat is kidnapped, and Mistopheles just, you know, does the whole, you know, take the blanket and throw it down, and then he pulls it up, and boom, the guy that, you know, was kidnapped reappears, you know, because, you know, and this character, the whole point of his character is that he's the stuff. Right? Not in the arrogant way, because that's a different character. He is the heroic, you know, he's the guy you go to, you know, he's there to help, right? The way he's depicted in this film is like he's a bumbling fool. And it's like, now his character makes zero sense. Why would anyone go to him for help? And how could he possibly solve the problem when he has no confidence in himself, right?
Right.
It's just ridiculous. And that's just one big thing, but there's a lot of other characterizations that they do. It's another one of those things where they recast the and I'm forgetting the character's name, the big, I'm sorry, Old Deuteronomy. That's
I remember that. Yeah.
Old Deuteronomy. Mm-hmm. And they do a gender swap to put what's her name in charge, Judi Dench.
Judi Dench. Okay.
Now, the gender of the character isn't important from a story point of view, but it's very important from a singing point of view. Okay, because if you're going to sing high notes and you're a baritone, that's impressive. But if you're going to sing high notes and you're a woman, well, any female could do that with a little bit of training. You know, you listen to the actor that played Old Deuteronomy on Broadway. Just listen to the Broadway cast recording. It's amazing. And some of the notes he hits and holds, it's like an angel singing. Mm-hmm. When Judi Dench does it, when she hits the notes, it's no big deal. But half the time she's not even singing. She speaks the words.
Oh, that's bad.
It's terrible. It's just terrible.
Why didn't they go animated if they weren't? Well, I guess there was some CG in it though, right?
Speaking of animated, okay, when you do cats on stage, right? And you have them interacting with oversized props and whatnot. You have one, and most of it is theater of the mind. You don't really have a lot of background, right? No problems with scale. But when everything's done CG, well, you need to either decide that these cats are human-sized cats, or they are anthropomorphic cats the size of actual cats, okay? Which, you know, they're what, half a meter tall or less, right?
Yeah.
Their size completely fluctuates from scene to scene. Just in the same room, you know, whether or not they can reach the handle of the door or not. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's just bizarre. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't actually see this movie and that I've only seen, the commentaries about it, because I would have been very, very bothered. But anyway, I'm sorry. I've totally gotten off on a tangent. I don't know why I'm talking about cats.
Because it's past the midnight hour, and you've had some
And I've had some
lovely
libations
cherries
and-
and some
yeah,
lovely
yeah.
cherries.
And it went right to my head. That's right. So
But,
next
tomorrow-
week, get your copy of The Mummy,
The Mummy.
1999. Huh?
Yeah, the Mummy.
Right. Tomorrow night over on Big Al's channel, we'll be watching Troll. Sunday morning on Matthew Flynn's channel, talking about Ben 10 Omniverse. Sunday night over on Age of Boomers channel, link in the description. We will be talking about this week's news, including the Hellraiser film that we mentioned just in passing briefly tonight.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of other news, including lawsuits and what I predict to be big changes in the industry.
Interesting stuff going on. There's striking and lawsuits
strikes
and all sorts of things. And if you'd like to watch The Mummy, you can watch it on HBO Max.
It's on HBO Max.
Because it's a Universal property, so naturally it would be on the Warner Brothers owned channel.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Or you have a week to grab your physical copy of The Mummy, because you
There
really
you go.
should have it, because
Local
it
library has it, I'm sure. You could also find other means, I'm sure, but but there you go.
It's like, wow, libraries all across the country. It's like there was this sudden massive rush on the 1999 Mummy movie.
I'm
We
telling
don't
you,
know
there's
why.
gonna be. They're gonna be like, what's going on? This is neat. They not only have the Universal Mummy movies, they have the Hammer Mummy movie as well. I'm telling you.
We'll
I'm
be
telling
talking
you,
about the Hammer films coming
HBO
up on the next Culture Fortress in
oh,
a
that's
week from
right.
Tuesday.
That's right. You and I will be. It's cool. All right, cool beans.
All righty. So that's all I got. Anything else from you, Aged Boomer?
Nope, nothing. Oh my goodness, Super Friends is on HBO Max. I'm telling you.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right. No. See you on Sunday.
Yep.
No. Matthew Flynn and I will not be on next week. He's on vacation. He's visiting the Grand Canyon. So, I should have told him to scream soundtracks of Birdman across the canyon to get the word out. But anyway,
We'll consider Scorpion King. That's not high on the priorities. Let's get
I've
through
never
first.
actually seen it. I've seen the Mummy sequel, but not the actual Scorpion King movie.
It's not bad. It's really not bad. It doesn't make a lot of sense thematically to me with what they showed in the Mummy, but I don't know what to.
Wasn't
make
the
of
idea supposed to be he was a great king, but then he fell from, I guess.
it. He was kind of a Conan type of character,
Yeah.
like an Egyptian version of Conan. I've got them all on DVD. It's just been a really long time since I watched them, but and then they recast it because you can't keep The Rock after he becomes big time. What I would encourage you to do is check out the Corridor Crew YouTube channel. They did a reworking of the Scorpion King scenes from the Mummy, and it looks much better, much better. CG is getting much better. Baby Boomer, I'm just telling you,
Yeah, okay.
it's getting better and better all the time.
I hope it gets better than that effect that we saw in Mummy 2.
It did. You got to check it out.
All right.
But anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. I have a lot of fun on Friday nights, getting drunk with y'all and rambling on about whatever. Super appreciate you being here. Don't forget to tip your waitress. The link's in the description as well. And thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care.
Good night.
Not yo.